an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at DSPM IIIT Naya, Raipur, CG, India. He received a Bachelor of Engineering degree in Computer Science and Engineering from the Rajiv Gandhi University, Bhopal in 2004 and the MTech degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Sati Vidisha, Madhya Pradesh in 2008. He has obtained PhD degree from the National Institute of Technology, Bhopal, India in 2015 in the area of data mining and warehousing. Earlier, he worked with the Modi Institute of Technology and Science, Deemed University, Sikar, Rajasthan, and Caresoft Incorporation as a software engineer. Dr. Tiwari is a recipient of Young Scientist Fellowship for the year 2014 to 16 by the Madhya Pradesh Council of Science and Technology, Government of Madhya Pradesh. He has handled 4 external projects sponsored by agencies like IIT Bombay, MHRD India, National Project Implementation Unit Delhi, Agriculture University CG. Dr. Tiwari has published research work in various reputed journals with IEEE Transactions, Elsevier, Springer, etc. His current research interest in machine learning, data mining, computer vision, bioinformatics, business analytics, data warehousing. So, sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for a nice presentation and nice introduction, I should say. Okay, so good morning, everybody present over here. Myself, Dr. Vivek Tiwari, Assistant Professor in IIIT Naya Raipur. First, let me congratulate or appreciate all the team or the organizing team who really involved for such kind of workshops, webinars, or any kind of conferences. Because I know we have to take a lot of big pain, and we have to work behind a lot day and night to make such event success. So really, the team from the Central University Rajasthan, it's really commendable. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you. So one more a little the changes I want to announce over here. I was asked to take 2 lectures over here, and as per the schedule, the first lecture should be a descriptive data analytics, and the second lecture, as per schedule, is the medical expenses prediction by using linear regression. The minute changes is that I want to swap the sequence. First, I want to take the linear regression through for application like a medical expenses analysis, and we'll go with the descriptive data analysis in the later part. So that is a minute changes I have just announced over here. Let me start. So I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know whether it is visible to you all or not. Uh, my screen is visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So today we are going to have a discussion on one of the great machine learning algorithm that is widely used and widely studied by the academies and the researchers, that is a linear regression. It looks very simple, but a lot of conceptual things are already there in that machine learning algorithm. I will try to cover it by using the basic application that we call the predictive medical expenses. So what is that application and what we are going to do, I will cover, plus the basic part of the linear regression I will cover. So these are the basic point, and the content of today's discussion is that it is hands-on experience. Whatever I will discuss conceptually, I will also try to implement in front of you. So the tool or the technology and the language I'm going to consider is the R. So many of you maybe think like that that is the 5th day of the session, and you are not comfortable with the R, and you have never been experienced with the R. So don't worry about that at all. R and Python both are great languages for the data science, and the syntax are most similar. And it's my responsibility to explain each and every syntax command I will use today. First, I will explain it, then I will use it. So only be with me. Everything is easy for you. There is nothing to worry about that. So the environment I am going to use, that is R. Then I will cover the basic part of the linear regression. Why? Because the linear regression is the vast algorithm. It's require a lot of time for a discussion. So with the limited time, I cannot cover a minute or a detailed discussion of the linear regression. But I will touch upon all the essential and the integral part of the linear regression that should be known to us. So that part I will cover. Third point is very important. It's my humble request, whatever the algorithm or machine learning method you are going to study, no, nothing is a dynamic, or nothing is a complete algorithm. Any machine learning algorithm comes with some assumptions, some prerequisite. So before applying, before selecting any machine learning algorithm, you have to look, or you must look, what are the limitations, what are the prerequisite, what are the assumptions that that algorithm carry. Otherwise, the results will not make you happy. Fourth is the point in the application. I have taken the medical expenses by using the machine learning. Last but not the least, the model optimization. That is a very important part of model development, because whatever the data set you have, that is a fix. Whatever the algorithm you have, suppose it is also fixed, then how can I improve my algorithm? Then a lot of optimization techniques are there. So I will also touch upon briefly how can you optimize your model. So before dive into the detailed discussion, let me have a look of machine learning model development life cycle. I know everybody must be aware of that. So let's start with the data, because data is the essential part of the machine learning. And if you don't have a data, your algorithm or machine learning is nothing. It will not going to do anything for you. So whatever the data you have, first you have to feed your data to your algorithm. That is called training. Once the algorithm is trained, it become a model. So many of the student, through my experience, I am sharing. If you ask a very basic question, what is the difference between algorithm and model? Many students fail. So the difference is that algorithm is only statements and a sequence of steps that are nothing. They are not going to do anything for you. There is no that list of steps are not learned. But when you feed your data to the algorithm, that algorithm scan multiple times your data and try to learn from that data. So once your training and learning process is over, that algorithm become a model. So model means after training, whatever the things you get it, that is called model. Now you have a model you can use for your purpose. You can ask a lot of questions, a lot of things like a predictions or forecasting. It can do behalf of you. So that is called model. So today we are going to complete all this step. First I will take a data, then the algorithm, then you will try to train it, then you will see how the performance of that model is. So that is something about the model development life cycle. So first, for generating or for building the interest, let me explain what application I'm going to consider for the today discussion. We are going to consider a medical expenses prediction. So what is the use of that? So I think many of you have uh, know about the premium. Premium means health insurance. If you are going to purchase a health insurance, you have to pay something. That is called premium. So the big question is that how a company can decide a premium, because there is a two issue. If the premium is overestimated, means you are going to lose your business, because nobody is going to purchase your scheme and your insurance because it is overestimated. Premium was overestimated. On the other hand, if you underestimate the premium, then again you are going to ultimate lose your business, because the amount you will earn from the premium, ultimate you are going to spend much more bigger amount than the you're earning, because you have estimated the premium. So that is a big problem with the company, how to decide the balanced on optimum premium. Now the question is that really this is a difficult task. I say yes, because the premium of a particular person or particular family depend on many variables. If I ask a simple question to you, can you tell me your and your family expenses related to your health you are going to incur in the next 1 year? Even if you have a 4 member or 3 member family, you are not able to predict the health related expenditure in the next 1 year, because it is very dynamic. It may depend on your habit, your age, your working culture, and your medical history. A lot of parameters are there that influence your health related expenditure. So how can we expect a company that have thousands of customer, they can easily predict the premium? It's a very difficult task. So that task we are going to consider today. We have a historical data. By using the historical data, we'll try to predict the annual medical expenses of a particular person or of a family. That is the problem I have taken for a today discussion. So for that, we need a data. So first, let me show you the data, which data I have, then I will start the discussion further. Okay, so I think it is visible to everybody. Yeah. So you see there is a 7 columns are there in the data, means 7 features are there. If you talk about the data science oriented, it is called the 7 features are there. So that is a regression, means it is a kind of supervised learning. So I hope everybody know there is a two kind of methods in the machine learning: supervised and unsupervised. In the supervised learning, there is a output variable, or there is a simply say the output variable or target variable. So out of these features, one feature must be a target variable, means that variable in the real environment you want to predict that value. So what is our objective? We want to predict the expenses. Expenses means medical expenses. So try to understand the data. The first is talk about, there is a person, age is 19, gender is female, BMI is 27.9, number of children 0, smoker yes. It is a region or the area of the country where he or she belongs. So if this characteristics is given to a particular person, this person having a historical data we have, he has spent around 16,884 rupees or dollar, whatever you want you may consider. So he or she has spent around 17,000 rupees or dollar in the last year. Similarly, others about the others data is also. So number of children means you can also consider the number of dependent. Like there is a person of the age is 28-year-old male person, and BMI is 33, and total dependent in that family is 3, and area is that one, and total expenditure is around $4,400 or rupees. So region means you might be have thinking what is the importance of the region. Region means like you whether you belongs to the South India or the North India or particular state or particular city like that, because it has been seen through the historical data. Sometime it may happen if you belongs to the particular region of the country. From that region, a particular kind of disease are most prevalent because of environment, because of soil character, because of water characteristics. It may happen sometime from the some reason the peoples are more suffer from the cancer, maybe from a skin type diseases, maybe from breathing problem. So that's why region is also important, in which region you belongs to. So that is the data where expense is the output variable, because I want to predict, and these are the input variable. What happened in the linear regression? Let me explain with that one. In the linear regression, very simple thing, whatever the output variable you had, that is called output variable. Okay, it is what you want to predict, like expenses you want to predict. And what are the input variable? Input variable like age, gender, and many more. So in the linear regression, we want to develop a relationship or mapping between all the input variable to the output variable. I want to develop a mapping, or that is called a relationship. I want to establish a relationship. So how to include all the input variable? By plus. So whatever the input variable you have, you can write at the one side. It's called all the input variable, and that is the output variable. How the combined impact of the input variable is influencing the value of output variable. That is the primary goal of a linear regression algorithm, that algorithm try to establish this kind of relationship, this kind of mapping. Which kind of mapping? What are the combined impact of all the input? What are the combined impact of all the input variable to predict the output variable that is called the expenses? So that is the primary goal of any kind of linear regression algorithm. So that's we are going to do today in the today discussion. Okay. So I think the data set I have explained nicely and everybody got it. So next is that I try to understand. I've also explained everything in the data. First feature is the age. Everybody know. Second is the gender, having a two subfield like male and female. BMI is a kind of indicator that talk about the whether the given person is overweight or underweight, like that. So ideal value of the BMI is between 18 to 24. If your BMI is outside of this range, means you may be underweight or maybe overweight, and that also impact of the medical expenses of the family. That's why this is also important. Children means how many member or dependent in family you have, whether you are a smoker or not, and which part of the country you belong. There are many more features, many more variables that influence the medical expenses. But for the simplicity, we have taken 5 or 6 variables so that you can understand it. Okay. So next part is that how we have a data. Everybody agrees. Like I have a data in my here in that particular location. The data is already stored over here. The insurance. So what happened in the data science? Every time you have to reference your data. Every time you have to call your data. You have to import your data, because ultimately you are working on the data. So there are two options. What are the options? I want to make such kind of settlement where during the programming, when I reference my data, I don't need to write the full path. Otherwise, if you have a programming experience with the Python or Linux and Unix kind of things, there is a directory system. When you want to access any file, you have to give the complete path of that location so that you can access it. That is called the root directory. So similarly, in the R, there is a two option. You can save your data like a insurance.csv either in the already that is a main root directory of your system that is related with the R. If your data into the root directory R, from the R console, you can directly access your data without writing complete path. Okay. Another way is that because in the real time, every time the copying and shifting the data from location A to location B is a very difficult task. So what happens? It's a more prevalent. You can change the root directory. Whereas data is stored, you can make that location, that path as a root directory. Okay. So suppose that path I can make the root directory, then easily I can access my data multiple times without writing the complete path. So in the R, how it is possible? So R is a simple editor, where you can consider it that is the editor or the R. Here I have to write the commands, and the moment you will enter, you will see the results immediately. So R is like a Python, or it is a very lightweighted software. If you're going to install the R, hardly it will take 200 MB. So it doesn't mean you require a GPU and big server like that when you're going to implement something by using R. It's a very lightweighted software. So the R installation means you have to install the R Studio. That is a very simple task. I have already installed. So there is a one command that is called getwd. Very interesting command. Getwd means what is the current root directory you have, working directory. Get working directory. So the moment you will write that command, you will see the current root directory. The current root directory is somewhere C users like Vivek Tiwari. But my data set is in different directory, like path is different. So you can change the root directory. What is the command for that one? First you have to copy the path. Suppose I have copied that path. Then there is a simple command like a setwd. Setwd means set working directory. Okay. I have pasted the path all the path, and please check it. It is a backslash, so I have to change all such kind of symbol. Just enter it. You again check it, get WD. Path has been changed. So that is a path where my data set is stored, like a insurance.csv file. So further I can directly access that path easily. So one thing I have done, I have set the path where my data is already stored as a root directory, so that easily I can access in the further. Next is that how to upload your data, how to import your data. So like the data set I have in the CSV file. So there's a very basic command read.csv. Read.csv is the function name. Since the root directory already set, you only need to write your dataset name. Otherwise, you would have you need to write all the path over here, because it is in the root directly. You can directly write the name over here. Similarly, if your dataset is in another format, like maybe HTML, maybe a text file, maybe in a JSON file, or maybe anywhere in the else, different functions are there. So whatever the data you have, in which format data you have, don't worry about that. A lot of functions options are available in the R to import your data. So for the simplicity, my data is like a CSV file. So I'm going to use a simple function read.csv. And whatever the data I will import, I will going to store in any variable that you want. For the simplicity, I have written the variable name insurance. You can give the variable name like ABCD, whatever you want. So let's see how the command will work for us. You just copy paste. I have just copy paste that command, enter it. So within a 1 second, complete data set is uploaded, and my data set is stored in which variable name? This variable name. Okay, so just paste it and see. Yeah, very good. All the data is there, you see. So the insurance.csv file I have uploaded, the variable name I have given in the insurance, and the moment I will write that name and enter it, whatever that variable is stored, it is displayed over here. So look, all the variables, all the data are completely in my R environment. Now I can use that variable name for the further processing. Agree? So you want to see the characteristics of your data, whatever you store. There is a function named str. There is a function named str. Str, you pass a variable where data is stored. You click the enter. It will give you a data type detail of your individual variable. Like the age is an integer kind of variable. Gender is a factor. Factor means it is a categorical variable. Factor means it is a categorical variable having two labels, male and female. Male and female. BMI is a numerical variable. Integer variable and numerical variable means if there is a decimal point of decimal numbers are there, that we call the numerical variable. If total integer numbers are there, we call the integer number. That is the only difference. Children, again integer variable. Smoker, again a factor. Factor means a categorical variable. I hope you everybody know the type of variable in data science. Means like a integer variable, numerical variable, categorical variable, ordinal variable, like that. So it is a category, whether you are a smoker, yes or no. Similarly, region is also category having a 4 labels. Maybe the whole the country and the space are divided into the four regions: south, north, east, west, like that you can consider. So there are 4 labels. There may be of many labels are there. So these are the factor means categorical variable, and others are numerical or integer variable. So in that way, you can check the internal characteristics of your data. Okay, so go ahead. Before dive into the detail, we have to see where our data set is balanced or not. So there is a command like that, a table. There is a command like a table. So sometime what happened in the data in balancing, you might have seen. Suppose for the simplicity I'm talking about. Suppose the data set is given to you, and you may consider against the gender variable, 90% are male and only 10% are female. Suppose such kind of data set you have. Try to think what I'm saying. Against a single variable, if that is a categorical variable, if the 90% of data belongs to the male category, and only 10% data belong to the female category. That is called imbalance, variable imbalance problem. So what happened? You are expecting your linear regression model will learn the patterns with respect to the data variable are given to you, but one of the variable is imbalanced. Means your linear regression model will be able to understand the medical expenses with respect to the male category, because a lot of data with respect to the males are available with you. But female data is very minimum data you have, about only 10% data belongs to the female category. So that part of the learning we can expect our model will learn poorly, because we have not given enough data to the model. So we have to see whether data is balanced or not. So with respect to each and every categorical variable, we can see it. So that I want to check it. Suppose, yeah. So there is a command you can write here. I think, yeah. Table is a command that going to count the number of observations label wise under the any categorical variable. So whatever the categorical variable I am passing, gender or sex, means this is the data set we have. Under that data set, which individual variable you want to access, you have to type the dollar. The moment you type the dollar, individual variable name will be displayed as a part of the list. Now you can select anyone. Okay, so I want to check against the gender whether data is balanced or not. Just enter it. You see over here, whatever the data you have, 662 observations are the part of female and 676 observations are part of a male. So the data are balanced. The data are balanced. Data are balanced means, okay, that's good. More, we can expect balanced learning from my model. In that way, you can use the table. Okay, so go to the next, having a discussion about that. That is again summary command. I'm not going. Okay, so that is the something we have discussed about how to import the data, how to check whether the different kind of categorical variable are balanced or not. Once you have successfully imported your data, you have to apply the linear regression model. So like I was discussing over here, uh, yeah. So that was the linear regression model. I want to learn the relationship between the set of input variable and the target variable. Okay. So how to that relationship I was talking about, how the relationship is look like, that mapping I was talking about, how the mapping look like, how it looks, how to store that mapping, how to store that mapping. So for the linear regression, that mapping is a linear line. That mapping is a linear line. Linear line means you know the basic syntax of the linear equation is that y is equal to b0 plus b1x. Yeah, sometimes say y is equal to mx plus c. C means this one. So the if another word, if I try to explain the what is the linear regression, so the linear regression is a nothing but a simply a linear line, a linear equation. So in that linear line, what happened? In the linear line, that equation is like y0 plus b1. Everybody know b1 x1. So what happened in the linear line? That is output variable. That is output variable in our problem. That is called expenses. It is a bias. Everybody know bias or intercept. Intercept. These are the input variable. If in your model having a one input variable like age, you can like that. If you have a more variable, you can include like b2 x2, like b3 x3, dot, as many as input variable you can include it. Okay, so that is the linear regression model look like, or that is a way to represent your relationship. So what happened? We feed our data to this line of equation. We feed our data during training. During training, what happened? My model tried to estimate the value of these coefficient. value of these coefficient. If somebody asks actually what happened in the training, we know the training means yes, feeding the data to the algorithm will try to learn something from the data. It's agree, but what it is actually with respect to the linear regression, once it is a line where it is a parameter, the value is unknown value, it is a parameter. Okay, so during the training we try to estimate the value of those parameter, that coefficient. So after training it may happen, once the training is over, that is called algorithm, during after the training become model, how y is equal to maybe b0 100, after, because after training we got the some value, we will be able to estimate the some value of all the coefficient, maybe 20 age, maybe 31.5 gender, plus like that, like that. So after training what happened, whatever the coefficient parameter you have, you will be able to estimate all those value. So once you have a model, then how to predict the output variable? Very easily. Suppose my age is 2, my male is I'm male represented by 1, like that. So I think you might have observed. Let me show you again. You see over here. So female is represented by 1 and male is represented by 2. It automatically encoding happen. You can perform your encoding whatever you want. If you want the male should be represented by it may happen, it's up to you. Suppose you want male should be represented by 1 and female should be represented by 0. It is also possible. It's up to you. You can write that one line of code. So suppose male is 1, so I have to write 1, then I have to solve that equation. Then whatever the value I will get here, that is the value really predicted by my model. So in that way something happened. I will not able to go in much detail way how to estimate the value of these coefficients. We don't have time today. But it is very important. So I hope I am able to make it clear in very abstract, in very conceptual way, how to represent mathematically a linear regression model. Once we feed a data to the model, after the training, we will able to understand or estimate the value of coefficient. Once you have a value of coefficient, in the future purpose, you just need to feed the input data in with respect to the age and male, female, and what way you want to predict the value of expenses. In that way, the model works in the black box setting. So that's the thing is written over here. For a simplicity, we have a one input variable. One more line I want to explain over here. If you have only single input variable, like the equation is given, one input variable, that is called a simple linear regression. If you have a multiple input variable, like our example, we have a multiple input variable like age, gender, BMI, like that. So in that case, it is called a multiple linear regression. It is called multiple linear regression. Sometime it may happen you are not interested to draw a line. Sometimes you are required to draw a curve. So that is called polynomial linear regression. So there is a three kind of linear regression: simple linear regression having only one input variable, multiple linear regression having a multiple input variable. Polynomial linear regression means instead of drawing a line, you try to draw a curve. So I will also touch why we need to draw a curve. So the terminology is over. So all the B0, B1, that is called the coefficient, and one extra coefficient that is a B0 intercept or bias we call, and Y is the output variable, or X is the input variable. So that way I have explained the basic terminology of the linear regression. Go to the next. So what happened, I was saying, very interesting concept. Okay. What happened actually in the different way, let me explain. Suppose there is a two variable, age and weight. I want to predict the weight of particular person based on the age. So what happened? Weight is the output variable, B0 plus B1 age. So based on the age, I will try to predict the output variable, that is called weight. Suppose the data set is already given to you, and I want to draw that data into the 2D space. Suppose data is like that. Suppose data is like that. Okay, like that. So suppose 0 to uh, 35. Suppose that. So somebody will say, so the moment age also increase, weight also increase. So weight and age are positively correlated. So what I will try to draw? I will try to draw a line that will best represent the data distribution. Ultimate drawing a line means how the data is distributed, means how the data are related to each other. In that way, we'll try to draw a line. Okay, sometime may happen. Average means mileage of your car based on the engine size, yeah, bike. So everybody know the capacity and the cc engine size of the particular car or bike increase, the average always decrease. So in that way, the relationship will be like that one. So I have to draw a line in that way. Agree? One more interesting concept is that suppose I have a data like that, muscles power versus age. Muscles power means how strong our muscles are normally have our body with respect to the age. So everybody know initial muscles power are very weak. The moment your age increase, muscle power also increase, and after some age, muscle powers are started decreasing. It may happen like that data. Everybody agree. So now the relationship between muscles power and the age is not a linear. The relationship is not a linear. It is a non-linear relationship. So I should draw a curve now. I should not draw a line, because either drawing a line or curve, my purpose is to learn the data distribution, how the data are distributed. Data distribution means simply relationship I'm talking about between input variable and output variable. So once the relationship is represented by either a curve or either a line. So sometime if you have such kind of data, you should draw a curve, that is called polynomial relationship. If the relationship is a linear, you should draw a line. Okay, so that's why every time you have to see, before applying either the linear regression model or the polynomial linear regression model, you have to see whether your data is, how the data are related to each other. That thing you have to understand. So if we have a two variable, then you can draw a line. If you have a multiple variable, you can draw a plane or hyperplane. So that concept is written over here. If you have a more than one input variable, multiple variable, then you need to draw a plane or hyperplane. Okay, so that thing is again very simple. So the concept I already have explained over here. Based on the data set you have, type of variable you have, how those input variable are related to your output variable, how the input variable influence the predicting value or whatever you are looking for. Based on that, either you have to draw a line or curve. It's up to you only. So first you have to check the data distribution, then you get to know whether you need to apply the linear regression or the polynomial linear regression. Okay. Now the technically, if I talk about, you can say, yes sir, we agreed and we have understood the concept in the black box. Okay, so input data is given, my linear regression algorithm will try to learn the data distribution, and the data distribution will be represented by a mapping. A mapping will be represented by either line or curve. So how we are going to do it? So there is some methods are already defined in the linear regression model. So that is called training methods. So there are many training methods you can opt when you are going to train your model. It's up to you. There are various versions of the linear regression model already there. So either you can use the least square training method. It's one of the option. or you can use the gradient descent method for the training, or you can use the maximum likelihood method, or so many methods are there. So I mean to say that whatever the linear regression algorithm you have, during the training you have a multiple options. Multiple option means which training method you want to employ. The moment you will change the training method, you are going to have a different model. It is not a kind of 2 plus 2 always 4. Whether you are calculating 2 plus 2 either your laptop, either mathematically, either using any calculator, it always gives you 2 plus 2 4. But in data science it is not like that. The moment you will change the training method, the final output always be 100% going to be changed. So whatever the model I'm talking about, so if I have a same data set, if I apply my linear regression algorithm by using the training method, the least square, it will give a different model. And gradient descent method, if somebody your friend employ the gradient descent method, it is going to give a different model. Yeah, ideally A and B will not be drastically different, but the moment you will change the training method, you are going to have a different model, different performance characteristics you will try to get it. So it's up to you, based it depends on your data set, whatever the data set you have, or what happened in the real life. It's a hit and try. You have to implement your linear regression model with the multiple training methods, and which training method gives you higher performance you will consider as a final method. So there is no any thumb rule like either in this kind of condition the least square method will perform better, and this kind of condition the gradient descent will perform better. There is no any thumb rule. Every possible learning method you have to apply, hit and try, then check which is suitable based on the data set given to you, and will be the finalized model in that way. So it's my humble request to everybody, please go into the detail, the working of the least square method, the working of the gradient descent method. A lot of questions people ask. If you are a student or MTech student, during your presentation, during your uh, placement drive, questions will be asked, a lot of questions from the what is the least square method, what is the gradient descent method, like that. So with the limited time, I am not able to cover the working of these methods, but it is simple suggestion. Please go through it in detail if you have a time. Okay, moving the next. I was talking about the prerequisite. So what is the prerequisite or assumptions of the linear regression model? So first assumption is that whatever the output variable you have, whatever the output variable in our example in our data set, the expense is the output variable. Okay, so what we talk about, if we draw the curve or histogram, or then the output curve should be a Gaussian curve. Another word, if I say, the output variable should be a normally distributed. One prerequisite of the linear regression model is that output variable should be a linearly distributed. So how can you visualize that distribution? There is a simple method, histogram. You can just draw a histogram. If the histogram is normally distributed, means your data set is fulfilling your one of the requirement. So there is a command hist. You pass whatever the variable you want. A single variable you have to pass at a time. So I'm passing the output variable expenses, and I'm going to observe that kind of observation it has. You see it, the center. You see the curve. It is not Gaussian curve. I think everybody know Gaussian curve means if whatever you are drawing, whatever you are going to draw something or visualize, the curve should be look like that. The curve should be look like this. That is called Gaussian curve or normally distributed. So you might have observed that whatever the data is given to you, whatever the data set is given to you, it should be a normally distributed output variable, but the given data is not satisfying one of the basic requirement of the linear regression model. So what are the consequences? consequences are that if you continue such kind of data, you can apply, if you may apply the linear regression model, there will not be any error, but the performance of your model, or if I say accuracy of your model, is not going to make you happy. The model will poorly fit on your data. Linear regression model will not learn the essential pattern from the data set. That is the answer only. Because linear regression model says that whatever the output variable is, that it should be a linearly distributed. If it is linearly distributed, linear regression model will able to learn the minute pattern easily or effectively. If it is not like that, ultimately you will have a poor model. Then what is the solution? Solution is that a lot of transformation techniques are there. You can transform your output variable like expense. You can apply a lot of transformation techniques, maybe normalization, maybe standardization, maybe log normalization, and many kind of transformation functions are there. It will transform your data into the different format, different range value, and then you will try to draw a curve. That curve should be a Gaussian curve. So that is a pre-processing step you have to follow before applying the linear regression model. Agree? So in that case, we are not going to transform the linear regression, the data set you have, but the things is clear, very clearly I have explained over there. That is your duty as a data science engineer to check where data is normally distributed or not. If not, that again one big chapter of data science, how to transform your data. Okay, ultimately you require that. So that one of the prerequisite in the linear regression model is not satisfied my data. Agree. Another prerequisite is that all the input variable, it talk about all the input variable must be independent. We try to listen again. All the input variable must be independent each other. What is the meaning of independent each other? Means there should not be any relationship between any two input variable. Whatever the two variable you select randomly means age and gender. There should not be any relationship. Gender versus BMI. And means it should not be like that. The males are normally having a higher BMI and females are normally having a lower BMI. If such kind of inference you can establish, means there is a relationship between gender and BMI. If somebody will say most males are smoker and the females are very chance to having a smoking capability or habit, this means gender and smokers are somehow related. It is not ideal condition for the linear regression model. Linear regression model talk about whatever the input variable you have, it should be independent to each other. Okay, suppose for a simplicity, you may consider one of the variable is the weight. So everybody know the age and weight are correlated. Okay, age and weight are correlated means the moment age increase, weight also increase. But my linear regression prerequisite says that demand that there should not be such kind of relationship. So that is a big problem with the linear regression model, is that it demand the input variables should be independent to each other. Okay, then first way is that how to check it, whether they are independent or not. If they are independent, well and good. If they are not independent, then you have to make them independent. How? Again, you have to apply a lot of transformation technique. Which variable are, suppose age and weight are independent, you have to make them independent. If they are dependent, sorry. So again, you have to apply a lot of transformation technique. I will not going to cover the transformation technique, but I am going to give you the idea how to check. So everybody know there is a correlation concept is there. So try to calculate the correlation between two variables. So if the value is either -1 or 1 or close to -1 and 1, means both the variable are highly correlated. If the correlation between two variable is 0, means they are independent to each other. There is no any relationship. So there is a function correlation already in the R. You only pass the variable name like age, BMI, children, and expenses. These are the numerical variables that I have included. We cannot calculate the correlation between an integer and categorical variable. That's why the region and the gender was excluded from the consideration. So you pass those variable. Its output will be the matrix. The matrix means it will going to display the correlation between any two variable. Like age versus BMI, the correlation is a 0.1. Age versus children 0.04. Age versus expenses 0.2, like that. Ideally, except diagonal value, all the values should be 0. All the values should be 0. All the values should be 0 means and these two variables or set of variables are independent to each other. They are not dependent. Or in the ideal case or in the real life, it is not possible. Everybody know. But we tried to see those matrices where the correlation should be 0 or close to 0. So if any correlation value between any two variable is close to 1 or close to -1, it is a threat for you. You have to handle it. Suppose the correlation between age and the expense is 1 here. It is a problematic situation for us. We have to do a lot of transformation technique. We have to apply and make them two variable independent variable. We try to do it. One of the concept, I think everybody know, the principal component analysis. The principal component analysis is a kind of transformation technique. What it does, it take all the input variable, whatever the variable you want. It will do some transformation and will give you a different kind of new variables. And that variables are always independent to each other. So if you are not able to make your variable independent, apply the principal component analysis. Principal component analysis have an ability to make your variable independent. Then whatever the output variable you receive from the principal component analysis, you can feed to the linear regression. It will improve your model accuracy 100%. Like that you can do it. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so in that way you can apply, suppose I'm just going to copy that command, and against which you want to calculate the correlation matrix, you pass as a parameter and just enter it. You see the output variable. Okay, so you just see there should not be any two variable having a correlation between between two variables should not be close to 1 or -1, like that. It should be around the 0. Okay, so going to next discussion. Okay, now come to the trading. Okay, so we know now we have a output variable expense and other are the input variable. That terminology you know. These are the input variable, these are the output variable. So I want to make a linear regression model. Okay, now based on the students and the data science engineer, they can say, sir, I want to develop a model where I will include all the input variable like age, gender, BMI, children, smoker, religion. Somebody will say, sir, is there any rule? It is mandatory to include all the input variable in my model? I will say no, it's up to you. Then somebody will have a different kind of linear regression model, like he's only interested to consider only the age. Somebody may have interested to including only two input variable. So you have a lot of choices. Through this slide, just I want to convey that it is not necessary to include all the input variable in your line equation, in your linear regression model. It's up to you. In the given data set, you may have a multiple linear regression model. Really, it happened in the real life. You have to check your linear regression model with the various combination of the input variable. And which combination will give you the higher accuracy, you will need to consider only that combination of the variable as a final model. It may happen the first line equation that his 6 input variable are there, the accuracy of this model, the first model, and the accuracy of third model should may be same. Suppose whatever the performance is given by the model first is equal to the performance given by the third model, then everybody can sense it. You should consider this model, the later one, because having a less number of variable. So if 2 or 3 model having equal performance, then you have to consider only those models having a less number of input variable. This means model is very simple. Always give the preference to the simple model, until it degrades the performance a lot. Agree? So there are other methods to get it know which combination of the input variable and how to select it. So there is a method like forward selection, backward selection. You just try to note it down. The forward selection and the backward selection are the technique in the linear regression to get it know which input variable you should consider or which input variable you should not consider. So that is again a hit and try technique, but you should know it. Okay, it is not totally randomly you can select it. Okay, so now time is to implement whatever the concept we have discussed over here. So okay, so the syntax is written over here. You see, LM is the already predefined function in the R that is called linear model. LM means linear model, already there in the R. You just call that function. Everything is written over there. You just call that function and pass some parameter. What are those parameters? You have to tell it which is the output variable. So first you have to write the output variable, then tilde. Tilde means next whatever the variable you are including, your model will consider as an input variable. So that is the output variable, then tilde, then age, children, BMI, gender, every variable which you feel to include, you can include it. So for the given instance, I have included all the input variable. Plus, you have to train your model in which data. So data is a second parameter. You are going to feed some data to this model. Which data? Insurance data. Okay, so LM basically there are other options out there, other parameters also there. I'm not going to discuss over there. You have to apply the line equation, which line equation is which linear model you are interested, plus on which data you want to apply. Agree? So just copy that. Okay. So LM underscore model means it is not a syntax. LM or LR underscore model means a variable, whatever the variable name you can give. A, B, C, D, I, J, K, whatever you want. Ultimate is the name of your model. Once you feed your data set to the model, to the algorithm will learn something from a data, and then you have to store that model. So whatever the name I'm going to give that model, that is called, you can return here whatever you want. So for today's discussion, LR underscore model is a model name I'm just interested to give. And just to see over here, I have passed that command and enter it. My model is ready. So that is the one line of work we need to understand. So that's why in the last half an hour or 1 hour, we have discussed to understand only this one line. So otherwise in one line, you just write a code, enter it, it will work for you. So I think everything you have understand. What the training method it has applied by default in the R, the training method is the least square method. By passing another variable, you can change the training method. You can change the descent, gradient descent. You can change it to the maximum likelihood method like that. It's up to you. By default, the training method is the least square method. Now I want to see the model. You just copy that model or just enter it. It will give you a lot of things. Okay, so you know it, understand. So the model is what you see over here. So what is the formula I have used? That was the expenses was the output and these are the input. Okay, now the coefficient. Coefficient means, I think you nicely remember that slide I have discussed. That was the algorithm. That was the coefficient B0, B1, B2, B3. After the training, your training method will estimate the value of all these coefficients and the final model will be like that 120, and the we need to estimate the value of all these coefficients. So it is here ready for you. You can see these are the coefficients. Intercept means B0. Value of B0 is minus 11,000 something. So there is no significance of positive or negative symbol in the linear regression. So don't worry about what is the meaning of minus. There is no any significance. B0 is 11,000. B1 means the coefficient with respect to the age is 256. B2 means coefficient with respect to the children is 475. B3 coefficient with respect to the BMI is 339. So now all these things we have estimated successfully here, B0, B1, B2, B3. So I think now it is damn clear to you what is the equation of the line. Now you can write it. These are the intercept and these are the coefficient of all the input variables. Agree? A more detailed discussion we may have. Okay, first see the interpretation. Okay, see. So that is very interesting things I'm going to discuss. Please focus over here, how to interpret it. The coefficient of the age in our model is saying, what is saying? The every 1 year increase in the age of a person, the required expense goes up by $256. Now you will see the impact of the age, because against age the coefficient is 256. So the moment you will increase the age by 1, ultimate the total country total the magnitude the age is going to be contribute increase by 256. That's why, you know, in other way you may consider if there is a 2-person age having 25-year and 26-year-old. So 26-year-old person is 1 year older than the 25-year-old person, will going to expend $256 more in a year. That's why age is important when you're going to purchase a health insurance. The bigger value of the coefficient means that variable is more important. Agree? So now again check the dependent. If you increase one dependent in your family, ultimate you are going to spend $475 in a year more. So one dependent is equal to going to contribute $475 medical expenses in a year. Similarly, BMI. One increase in the BMI, ultimate that person is going to spend 339 rupees more. So that's why these features are so important. They are really influencing the total medical related expenses of a person or of a family. So in that way, you can interpret the model you have. Agree? So that was the interpretation. Now I want to evaluate my model in terms of how can I check the performance of my model. If you have a multiple model, which model is better? How to check it? Yes. So there is a command summary. You just call it. There is a command summary. Summary, and what is the model you are? You just pass it to it. It will give a detailed picture about that. You see over here. A lot of things is there. I will not discuss in detail the many things. Okay. So what I'm interested, OPC. So whatever the model you have, like this model, just discuss and focus over here the error that is called standard error. The error given by your model is 6062. Ideally, the error should be 0. Whatever the model you are training, you want, it should be accurate. So ideally, the error given by your model should be 0. So by my model is giving this error, this number 6062 errors. That value something you can consider. And one another parameter I'm going to discuss over here, R squared or adjusted R square. Okay, adjusted R square is the advanced version of the R square. Mathematically, what is R squared? Please try to understand. Whenever you have a time, please go through it. A lot of questions comes in the R squared. Ideally, the value of R squared should be between 0 to 1. and the value, a higher value of the r square is desirable. What is the meaning of that? Ideal value of the r square is 1. It should be 1. And ideal value of the error should be 0. So for the simplicity, there are other method to evaluate your model. So many just f statistics and p value and estimate standard error, t value, p value. All I'm not going to discuss because of the limited time. But whenever you have time, you just try to understand all those concepts. For the simplicity, I will consider two performance parameter, error and the R-squared. Okay, I want a model having a lesser error. I want a model having a higher R-squared. Agree? So now I'm going to the direction of the optimization. Optimization means we have a data set. Agree? I have trained my model, and the performance is front of you. I want to increase that performance. I want to improve the performance. Agree? So how to improve the performance? One method is that you can include, you don't try to draw a line, you may try to draw a curve, because sometimes the relationship is not a linear. The relationship may be a non-linear. Okay. So try to include the non-linearity. Non-linearity means we have to increase the degree of polynomiality. The moment I will increase the degree of any variable, it means we are going to draw a curve. So that is the curve fitting. I think everybody know about the little bit about the curve fitting. The moment I will increase the degree of polynomiality of any input variable, ultimate, we are not drawing a line, we are drawing a curve. So suppose, so again hit and try. So don't ask, don't expect like that, sir, how to do it. It is only hit and try. So what I'm doing, whatever the input variable is the age, I'm increasing the degree of polynomiality. I'm just including the square of the age into our model. So suppose first, whatever the age, a new variable I have created, age 2, and age 2, I'm going to store the age square. So the new variable I have included, and the value of new variable is the age square. So let me run this command first. So now I have a new variable age square. Agree? Then I'm going to train again a new model, that I will say the model 1. So where I am including age square. Earlier it was the age. Now I have increased the degree of polynomiality, and now I'm going to include the variable of the age square. I'm going to train it again. I will see the performance is increased or not. Okay, it is training is over. Just try to see the result. These are the results. Okay, so you see the results I have pasted over here. So earlier you can see the error was 6062 and the R squared was 0.75. Let's see the error. 6029, it reduced. And the R square, or new R square is 0.7536. Earlier it was 0.7509. So R square increased and the error decreased. Means whatever the experiment I have done, I have included the age square. It has improved our model. Maybe little bit, but it has improved our model. Agree? Somebody will say, sir, it is possible to include the age plus age square also. Yes, there is no any rules, no any restriction. So some student may say, sir, just I want to check it. So I also include the age plus age square. You can do it. Nobody is going to deny you. And you just see the summary, and the summary is that earlier the error was 6029. Now the error is 6030. It increased error by 1 point, but the R square was 0.7536, now 0.7537. So it increased the error, whatever the experiment you have done, but it decreased the R square. Agree? So ultimate, whether you are including age square or both the term age plus age square, both having the equal impact. So the result is that we should not include the age. Age square itself having the equal impact combined impact with equal to age plus age square. So why should I include an extra variable? Agree? Most important discussion, and means in that way you can do a lot of experiment. Just I'm stopping here. A lot of experiment you can perform. Means you can apply the children square, BMI square, or it is not only square. You can make a x to the power q, under root, square root, whatever the mathematical operations you can think about that you can apply. Whatever the equation you can write. Means ultimate you have to write a curve equation. So many ways you can write, and ultimately you have to decide which combination of the input variable is going to give the good performance for you. Okay, having a most important discussion about the interaction. That is a very important concept. What is the meaning of interaction? Understand through a very simple example. Suppose a data set is given to you about the gender, male and female. Okay, a dose. That is a pharmaceutical data set I'm talking about, a medicine, a dose. So suppose and then is the effect. So three variables are there: gender, dose, and effect. Okay, so what suppose like that we have some big data set. I'm giving just 2.2 gram, 0.3 gram, 0.2 gram, 0.2 gram, 0.3 gram. These are the medicine, the amount of medicine I am giving to the person, and just I'm observing some effect. Okay, so everybody know it may happen the same amount of medicine having a different impact based on the male and female. What I'm saying, try to understand again. The same amount of medicine may have a different impact of the male and female body. As a domain knowledge or domain expert, you know that impact. It may happen. As a doctor, you know. But when you feed such kind of data to the model, such kind of data for the model training, the model is not a doctor. Model is not a doctor. Model doesn't have the domain knowledge. So what is the way to make aware about such kind of relationship may happen in the training data, so that your model can learn? So how to feed it? So if two variables are related, here are what I am saying. In one hand, I am saying in the linear regression model, these two variables should not be related. Everybody agree? Initially, I told whatever the input variable you have, this should not be correlated. Another hand, I am saying if there is a combined impact, means if you combine the gender and dose, it gives you new kind of information. Means a same amount of medicine may have a different impact, different level of impact on the gender wise. This is also important concept. I want to teach, I want to give this exposure to my model. So then how can I do it? So the solution is the interaction. There is a concept is interaction. You can interact the variable. Means you can create a new variable where you can multiply gender and dose and feed this new variable to the model. So that is called interaction. So when it happened, if you are well aware about that and you have a sense that there are some variables that may have a different combined impact on the output variable. If you combine these two variables, it will contribute a new kind of learning to your model. If you confirm it, you just include such kind of knowledge into the variable by using interaction term. So for a simplicity, what I have done, I have considered BMI in a smoker, and I want to check whether they have a combined impact on the expenses or not. Individually BMI is important, I agree that. Individual smoker is also important. But I want to check whether the combined impact of BMI in a smoker is going to influence the output variable or not. I want to just check it. So mathematically, how can I do it? You can observe here, whatever the data set is given to you. I have included age square. It's up to you. The single thing you can consider. Then children, then BMI. Plus, you try to observe here a new term I have included that is called BMI multiplied by smoker. So ultimate that is called interaction term. So whenever you include the interaction term, your purpose is only to check whether these two terms combinedly have an impact on output variable or not. It is called expenses. So let's see. Just copy that and train a new model. That model name I'm giving the model 5. Just enter it. Agree? Then you can see the summary. In the summary, first you need to pass the new model you have. You just enter it. Sorry. You see it. So now let me go for here. Here I have pasted the result, I think. Yes. See. Okay. First, let me say the earlier. Earlier, the error was around 6030, and the R squared was 0.75. Okay. So now the error is 4445. You see the performance hike. The error was reduced from around 6,000, from around 6, earlier it was around the 6,000 error was. Now the error is around 400, 4.500 or 4,500. So how huge improvement it is. Similarly, you may observe the earlier R square was 0.75. Now the current R square is 0.86. It is very huge improvement. So I have validated my assumption that the combined, really the BMI in smoker have a different combined impact on the medical expenses. So I just validate it through including that term into the linear regression equation. I trained it, and then I have seen the really it happened. The error was reduced a lot, and the R square was increased a lot. Agree? So that was the things how to include the interaction term in your linear regression model, and the interaction term may be any of two. So for the simplicity, I have taken BMI the smoker, but you may have another variables, input variables. You can combine it and check it. So it is totally about hit and try. Totally about hit and try. Okay. So going ahead, so that was the things I have covered today in the discussion. So let me summarize it. So as we know, there is a lot of prerequisite, a lot of assumptions comes with the linear regression model. It is not only the linear regression method, whatever the algorithm you are going to implement. Please mute yourself. I am requesting to everybody, please mute yourself. A lot of disturbance is coming. Okay, thank you. So what I was saying it is not a case with the linear regression model. It is a case of any machine learning algorithm. Maybe deep learning method, maybe ResNet, maybe YOLO, maybe CNN, maybe KNN, maybe decision tree, maybe random forest, maybe SVM. Whatever the machine learning algorithm you are looking for, first you should check the prerequisite and assumptions. So anyhow you have to ensure what are the assumptions demanded by the particular underlying algorithm. You have to look it. In the linear regression model, there's some couple of prerequisite I have touched upon. There are many other prerequisites like the homoscedasticity, heteroscedasticity. The error also should be having a Gaussian curve. You have to look into upon. Model optimization, again, one of the great things. You have to apply a lot of method. The model optimization may be in the two part, whether you are improving your performance by doing something on the data set, the way I have done. You can improve the performance by making some changes by pre-processing your data. Sometimes you have to optimize your model through the hyperparameter setting. A lot of parameter comes with your model, so that you have to also look upon. Next, we have seen the R square, adjusted R square, the error of your model, and how can you use those parameters for evaluating your model. Last, I have written the p-value. So p-value I have not touched here for the today's discussion, but it's my humble request to everybody to check about the p-value, standard error, the t-value, and these are the statistical concept. Everybody should know about that one. So that was the discussion from my side. So I'm going to open the discussion forum now. If anybody having any question, doubt, they can ask me or write on the chat box. I will try to answer the question. Anybody having any question, please ask now.
Sir, we need to transfer only the target variable into normal distribution or all the variables?
First, yeah, very good question. So there are two things. First, whatever the output variable, you must see its distribution. It must be a normally distributed. That is correct. Okay. Input variable, there is a no such demand to all the input variables should have a normally distributed, but all the input variables should be independent to each other. That is a demand only. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else, please?
Yeah, but sir, if we are saying that there is an interaction between two variables, that means they are not independent, right?
Yes.
So
Yes,
that
yes.
means even if they are not independent, we can still use this model by using the interaction function.
Yeah, yeah. One more thing I want to explain over here. That is a good question. In a different way, you have to look it upon. How? Yeah. See, open here. I have taken the two variable BMI and smoker, I think. Agree? Okay. So if you try to see the relationship between the BMI and the smoker, there is no any direct relationship. You cannot say higher BMI means more chance of the smoking. Everybody agree? But there is an indirect relationship. So if any two variable have an indirect relationship and you want to keep that relationship in your model, then you have to apply the interaction variable. Agree? Sometime may happen two variable having the direct relationship plus indirect relationship also. It also may happen. So the interaction term is the way you want to see the combined impact of the two input variable, whether they are directly related or not directly related. Agree?
Right, sir.
Okay.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir, is the linear regression model can be used for the image processing?
Your voice is not clear, sir.
Is the regression model can be used for the image processing?
Yeah. If your image are if you are able to convert into the digital image where the features are represented by the numerical variable, I think you may understand what I am saying. First, you need to convert your image into the digital form, or you may apply a lot of features extraction method you can apply, and those feature extraction method output is a numerical variable. If there is, then you can use the linear regression model.
Generally speaking, the image values are 0 to 255.
You can apply, but be always be careful. Linear regression model will not be predict your image as like a category, whether the image is like a dog image or cat image. It is not going to give you, because the linear regression model is a regression model. The output variable should be a continuous variable. If you want to classify your image, you should apply any classification method. But in the classification method, the input can be one of the linear regression model. The output of the linear regression model you can give as an input for any classification method.
Okay, okay. One more thing, in the
Yeah.
image processing, majorly the elements are the dependent.
Yes.
Is it possible to apply this model in the image processing? Because if
Yeah. 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 You do one thing. You do one thing. Na? Very simple. But let me explain with the example.
okay,
What happen? It's real life problems happen with everybody. Suppose I have a many variable x1, x3, x4, x5, x6. Suppose these are the characteristics or feature of your image. Okay. So what happen if you are saying suppose these three are the variable that are independent.
yes, sir.
Okay. And these are the variable or some of the variable are related to the rest of the variable. So what I should do it. You just select out all those variables that are independent. Suppose x1, x5 and x6 are the three variables that are independent to each other. Agree?
Okay,
You
sir.
apply the linear regression model. Whatever the output variable you are getting, suppose मान लो y1, then y1 you can consider as a one of the input variable, then feed to the any classification algorithm. So
Okay,
here the linear regression model we are using for making a one more feature. It is not a for regression purpose. The purpose of the linear regression model may depend on the application you are using. Agree?
fine, sir.
Great.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. Any other?
Good
Go
morning,
ahead.
sir.
Good morning.
So my question is, can we use the for the prediction of the COVID-19 by using the machine learning? Actually, I have applied two models. One is the simple NFIS model, one is the couple model with the wavelet NFIS and ANN. So I tried
Yeah.
these models to find out the next 1 month prediction of this COVID-19 situation. But will be the future prediction of the new rival cases of the COVID-19 in
Sure,
India.
sure, sure.
So what are the other models which can be more error-free in the machine learning, sir?
If you are looking for the COVID related problem, you must look with the time series models only.
Yeah.
So whatever the time series model like Arima, Sarima, and,
Yes.
and and such kind of many models are there. So
Yes.
those models are also based on the linear regression model. You should try to
Yes.
study it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they include the time component very smartly, and based on
Mhm.
the time component, it makes because the COVID-19 the infection rate also depend on the time. Because
Mhm.
every day what are the previous number of cases you have, it is going to impact the number of cases may have in the future.
Ji.
So the time is so important. So
Mhm.
I just suggest to try out all the time series model you can employ on your data set. It will help you a lot.
Okay. Okay.
I
Thank
have
you.
studied many papers where the people try to predict the COVID related cases. Then
Mhm.
all the person have applied the time series data analytics or time series
Mhm.
model they have employed. So you look
Yes.
upon over there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, a very basic question.
Yeah.
Whenever we want to figure out whether your variables are independent or not, you can use correlation function when there is numeric data. But as you
Yeah.
said, for non-numeric data, we cannot use correlation function. So
Yeah.
how do we
Yeah.
deal with that kind of data when it is non-numeric form?
So I think you are asking, suppose, I think you are asking like that. What if your data, suppose age versus gender, whether they are related or not? Because gender is a
Right, right,
categorical data and age is a numerical, age is a continuous data. Agree?
right, sir.
Okay. So there are very different method. One method, let me explain with you, that is not effective, but people use it. They encode your categorical variable into the numerical variable, like 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. Agree?
Okay, sir. Right.
Then they try to get the correlation matrix, but it's okay sometime, but many time it doesn't work. So what they try to do it, that is very interesting. It happened in the real life. So what they apply the classification method. What they apply the classification method, they make the categorical variable as a output variable like a class female is a class A and male is a class B. Agree? And we have a feature like age. They implement the classification model, or maybe suppose logistic regression, or maybe suppose decision tree. So whether in the classification method, if the classification method give the good accuracy, when you have a categorical variable as the output variable and numerical variable as the input variable, if model gives the good accuracy, means there is a good relationship between these two variables. Agree? Then you get it. No, these two variables are highly correlated. You got it? What I'm saying.
Right, sir.
So there is no only single method. Multiple methods are there. You can apply the classification model first, whether check the numerical input variable and the categorical variable are related to each other or not. If the classification method have a higher accuracy, means they establish a good relationship between these two variables.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
So that is a part of pre-processing. A lot of things you have to carry. There is not a simple case, take a data, apply the model and having the output. It is not like that. Many things you have to apply in the real life.
Right, sir.
Anybody? Thank you. Anybody else?
Sir, PC basically we can use for feature selection. I'm right?
You are asking decision tree can be used for the feature selection you are talking about?
No, sir. PCA.
Yeah. PCA.
So, sir, what are the
Yeah.
difference between PCA and the forward-backward feature selection? Or how I can select which type of algorithm is benefit for me? Which scenario?
Okay, very good question you have asked. Not totally different concept. Okay, what happened? Tell me. Suppose age. Every participant I'm asking to be focused here. A very important question he has asked: gender and smoking. Agree? Suppose three other features. If I apply the PCA, suppose. Okay. Hello. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. If I apply the PCA will create the equal number of feature. If you have given the three variable as an input, it will create a 3 variable x1, x2 and x3. Okay. These 3 variable may be dependent each other. It is guaranteed that these 3 new variable will be independent to each other. Okay, but this was the age, this was the gender, and this was the smoking. It is not age, it is not gender, it is not smoking. So PCA will transform the given input feature to equivalent the new feature, but the equivalent new feature you cannot have any interpretation. You cannot say this is the age, this is the gender, this is the smoking. These new features are entirely different from the input feature. So it is the age, it is the gender, it is the smoking. It is not like that. It is a different kind of encoding. It is a different kind of encoding. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So means you don't have interpretation. Means if later you get it, no. Suppose the output variable is the y. Here output variable is the y. I can say the age having, suppose age coefficient is 300. Suppose here this coefficient is suppose 250. So here you can have an interpretation that if you increase the age by 1 year, the total expenses going to be hiked by 300. Agree? Agree?
Yes,
but if you converted your feature by using the PCA, whatever the new feature you have, you give this feature to the algorithm, and algorithm will also estimate some input value, some input coefficient, but the interpretation is 0. What is the interpretation? It is not age, it is not gender, it is not a smoking. So finally this model will work better than that model in the real picture. I agree. But with this model, you cannot have the interpretation how the particular input feature age, gender, and smoking going to impact the output variable. Here you can have this kind of knowledge. Here you always lose that knowledge. You cannot have an interpretation of the individual feature. Agree?
Okay.
But in the forward selection and backward selection, what you need to do? In the first instance, you include only age and see the R square. Then you include age plus gender age plus gender, then R square. Next model, age plus gender plus smoking, then R square. Means that is called forward selection. First select one, then next, then two next. And you need to observe the performance of the R square. Agree? In which case R square will be higher, you will need to consider that model. Agree?
Yes, sir. Yes.
In the backward selection, you have to reverse it. Consider all the input variable and delete one by one, one by one, one by one. Agree?
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
Processing with and dealing with all these algorithms on classical machine learning part, so they take much time, execution time, level of accuracy is sometimes poor. So nowadays people are using quantum machine learning algorithms
Okay.
to dealing with the big data and for high performance computing. So given data, how we will process with the quantum machine learning? Suppose quantum regression model is there.
Okay.
So I'm interested in mathematical approach of that.
So actually, I don't know in the quantum machine or quantum architecture, quantum kind of processor, I don't know. But try to understand the concept. Like CPU, like GPU, like quantum. Three kind of GPU are there. Three kind of processor are there. Agree? We are talking about the processor only. Agree?
Yes.
Quantum machine means we're talking about the processor. Here is the algorithm. So whatever the processor you are using, what is the purpose of that? Reduce the execution time. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Or more specifically talk about reduce the training time only, not execution time. Once a model is trained in the real time, you don't need all the data. Once model is trained, within a second you can predict the things. So in the real time, in the real environment, if your model is trained, the model may be in 2.5 KB, this much of size. You give the one single line input, it will give the output. So during the real time execution, we don't need the CPU, GPU, and quantum. It is totally useless. It is important only during the training only. Agree? So what is the architecturally, the quantum machine is different from the GPU and GPU is different from the CPU. That thing I don't know really. So I cannot answer how the quantum processor can process the data. That's I don't know actually. I never studied quantum computing.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else, please?
Sir, have you developed any NPTEL course or any other talks where we can learn more from you?
No, I don't have any NPTEL courses right now. sorry for that. I don't have.
Because you're a very good teacher, so we look forward to hearing more from you actually. In
That
future.
good comment. Thank you for thank you. A good comment. But I don't have right now actually. So, Dr. Krishna, we can have a 10-minute I think gap. We may start after 10 minutes. I think. You are not audible. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, sir. Thank you very much for the nice lecture, and we will assemble again after 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.